Hi, my name is Nyla, and I am 7 years old. I like my astronomy class, and I am loving it. And I've been learning my planets like the moon and Earth and the Venus, Mercury, and astronomy class is awesome. I've been learning about like Egypt and that stuff. And king and queens and and pyramids and
What do you think thus far of the International Homeschool program?
I believe it's the best investment I could have made for my daughter and for myself as well, because learning astronomy and African heritage, it was needed. It was much needed, and
Yes, my family, blessed love, glorify the life giver and the keeper of life, Kedas Emmanuel, I, Selassie, I, Jah, Rastafari. Wonderful. I'm honored that you could definitely step into the domain this blessed day, the Tiger's Lair. Of course, you know, this is the Tiger's Nest, the Honorable Priest Isaac here with you. And we are going to have a wonderful reasoning. Yes, as you would have seen, the title itself, we are going to be talking about the pardon, the pardon given by the President of the United States of America in the whole effort supposedly of decriminalizing marijuana, and he will be, or they will be, pardoning those who would have been affected because of some sort of minor offense as it relates to the cannabis sativa. So we're going to look a bit into that. And as you could see, there is some, let's just say, correlation with the coronation of Haile Selassie as Negus, but I will get to that in a moment. Don't worry. Just giving thanks for your presence with us once again. I want to remind you of the Tiger's Nest radio program that comes to you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And tomorrow evening, and tomorrow being Monday now, Monday, the 10th of October, we're going to have a wonderful sit down, a wonderful reasoning, a wonderful discussion with Brother Franz de Freitas. Brother Franz de Freitas specifically, he is an educator, an entrepreneur, a businessman, a radio personality, and also a political hopeful. And we will be definitely sitting and having a discussion on geopolitics and so-called local affairs. And we'll be speaking of the cannabis as well, and speaking about the reparation and exactly what he would do if he was given the reins of power, as he is buying again for political office. So this is a sit down I don't think anyone would want to miss. This is 7 p.m. sharp, Monday, the 10th of October, Radio Anu. So that is the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge, priestisaacinstitute.com. You don't have to worry about all the details. Just scroll down and press the link in the description of this video, and it carries you straight to Radio Anu, 7 p.m., the Tiger's Nest. And of course, you know, you can be a subscriber to the Tiger's Nest, no matter what the case is. And of course, you know for sure that means you'll get the Tiger's Nest each and every day, definitely after the program is completed. So looking forward to your presence with us tomorrow evening, and it's going to be a wonderful sit down, myself and Brother Franz de Freitas, and at the same time just highlighting, of course, our upcoming winter solstice. I know many of you have been saying, hey man, this gotta be the time that I come. Well, for sure, make sure that you are in the house with us this time. Again, another 7 days of excitement. You know the routine. As it gets closer and closer and closer, we give you more details, but for sure, you know for a fact that we're talking about double hike to Green Castle Hill amongst the megaliths. Family, I'm looking forward to all of those who can make it down to have a wonderful 7-day experience with us, so you can see for yourself with your own eyes, so you yourself can witness the works that we are doing, not just on Green Castle Hill, but in Antigua in general, so you can see for yourself exactly what we have to offer to all those who are definitely a part of our family. And of course, as I said, we'll have 7 days of activities from our double hike for sure. Definitely, as you could see, vegan breakfast, lunch, daily transportation, island tour, so many different things. As I said, as the time gets closer and closer, I'll be giving you more information, but you don't have to wait on me. Who said you have to wait on me? Just contact us. Email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com. You know, set yourself early. Don't wait until the last moment. We're talking about the winter solstice 2022 from the 16th of December to the 22nd day of December. And of course, 7 days and nights, Rastafari, with I and I here in the Caribbean. And it's going to be a wonderful experience, you know. Remember the cannabis tour, the cannabis education tour. Remember for sure the chalice talk. Remember for sure being amongst the Rastafari communities, not the community, you know, several Rastafari communities right here in Antigua. You're not going to even know which one you want to stay with, but for sure it's just going to be a wonderful time. Get yourself together, bring a friend, and contact us, get more information. What I consider a very inexpensive program, so you should get on board. All right, fair enough. Now, as I said on Friday, the news came. Friday was the 7th of October now. On Friday, the news came forward that the United States of America will be pardoning those who would have been convicted for minor offenses as it relates to the cannabis sativa. So we definitely found great interest in that. The announcement was made by Joe Biden, which is the president of the United States of America. And why we found interest in that is because it was a very interesting day. Because that day, which is the 7th day of October, is actually the anniversary. This year was the 94th anniversary, if the mathematics is correct, and I think it is the 94th anniversary of the crowning of Haile Selassie as Negus Tafari. So, of course, Haile Selassie is his baptismal name, you know. Okay, he didn't just get it in 1930, but for sure, we understand the 27th day of September, 1916. This is where he got the title Ras and became Rastafari. You understand? Now, of course, that's a regent title. And basically from that time, he was ruling Ethiopia. You better believe it, even though the Lioness of Judah, Empress Zaditu, was there, penny making full effect. But of course, the young Rastafari really took the reins of power. But it was in 1928 when he became Negus Tafari. And you may be just saying, so wait, what that have to do with what Joe Biden is saying? Okay, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I think maybe I was giving you too much too early. Let's just listen to what Joe Biden said, and then we'll get back to the conversation thereof. I'm going to be taking an excerpt from Democracy Now!, All Courtesy, and this is concerning Joe Biden's announcement on the 7th of October as it relates to the pardon of marijuana for minor offenses.
Report, I mean, President Biden's announced he'll pardon anyone convicted of simple marijuana possession under federal law in a major step towards the decriminalization of cannabis. Biden announced his plan in a video posted on social media.
As I said when I ran for president, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana. It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, to educational opportunities. And that's before you address the racial disparities around who suffers the consequences. While white and black and brown people use marijuana at similar rates, black and brown people are arrested, prosecuted, and convicted at disproportionately higher rates. So today, I'm taking 3 steps to end this failed approach. First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana. There are thousands of people who are convicted for marijuana possession who may be denied employment, housing, or educational opportunities as a result of that conviction. My pardon will remove this burden on them. Second, I'm calling on all governors to do the same for state marijuana possession offenses. Third, the federal government currently classifies marijuana as a Schedule I substance, the same as heroin and LSD, and more serious than fentanyl. It makes no sense. So I'm asking the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Attorney General to initiate a process to review how marijuana is scheduled under federal law. Even as federal and local regulations of marijuana change, important limitations on trafficking, marketing, and underage sales should stay in place. Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. It's time that we right these wrongs.
As President Biden calls on governors to also pardon people found guilty of marijuana charges at the state level, we're joined now by Cassandra Frederick. She is the executive director of the Drug Policy Alliance. Thanks for being with us. Were you surprised, Cassandra, by this announcement? So often when you come to a point like this, the pardoning of all people convicted of marijuana possession at the federal level, it is grassroots organizations and alliances that have pushed something like this forward.
Let us take in a bit of this before we continue.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Amy. I'm really happy to be here. I think we were open to the president's announcement for a really long time. Groups on the ground have been pushing for us to get to a place where we're descheduling, decriminalizing, reinvesting in communities, and really leaving cannabis prohibition behind. And so the president's announcement yesterday was an opening gesture to a much broader conversation.
Well, before we talk about that broader conversation, explain what it means. He's talking about federal charges. Anyone convicted of federal charges of pot possession are pardoned. So who does this include and who doesn't it include?
Let's listen to a bit of this.
So it's important to contextualize that these pardons actually remove legal barriers to things like employment, housing, licensing, public benefits. And this is an arena of around 6,500 people. Most people that are currently in the federal system are not there for simple possession. But this is going to be really helpful for those 6,500 people. It will also cover those in the District of Columbia who are under this federal jurisdiction, that they will also have the opportunity to get their offenses, their code offenses pardoned as well.
So we're talking about people who are in prison currently, is that right? And also, of course, people who are not in prison but have this record. How many, do you know, will be freed from prison immediately?
So what we have found is that there are not that many people, if any people, that are currently in the federal system.
And you see, before I get to what I'm getting to, who feels it really knows it, eh? And even what's coming out here would affect the lives of even some of you that are listening to me. It may not even be you personally, but it could be your loved one, your parents, your sons, daughters that have been tangled up in the whole policy of the criminalization of the plant, cannabis, sativa, marijuana, ganja, and some other names I hear people calling it. And because of what Joe Biden said the other day, it would have, I guess, taken off some sort of weight off of many shoulders. So let us just continue to listen. And don't get me personally wrong, eh? Because if somebody put 100 pounds on your shoulders and take off 10, I mean, that be careful how you celebrate. But just continue to listen to this anyway.
I'm currently solely for simple possession. What we know is that a majority of the people that are going to be impacted by this pardon are people who have these convictions, who are currently navigating the really devastating collateral consequences associated with a federal conviction on simple possession. Remember that this is about removing legal barriers, but these people still have convictions on their records. And the other thing that's important is that that non-citizens were excluded from this, which is really unfortunate because people who are non-citizens, cannabis is one of the main reasons why people are detained or deported. So as I said, this is an opening gesture.
So that's a good point, eh? Non-citizens were excluded. And she's saying, and that's one of the main reasons non-citizens, get caught up for these minor offenses. So you're not a citizen of the good old USA. Well, as we say in the Caribbean, crap will smoke your pipe, meaning that, you sucks all in. Give me something else that somebody would know, it ain't working out for you.
For what we are pushing for to be a broader conversation.
Let me elaborate on that further with a quote from Jane Shim, the senior policy attorney for the Immigrant Defense Project. Her statement reads in part, "It's extremely disappointing that the administration went out of its way to exclude undocumented immigrants. Furthermore, even immigrants who are pardoned may remain at risk of detention and deportation because of a marijuana offense, thanks to our punitive immigration laws." Cassandra.
That's exactly right. And, Drug Policy Alliance has learned an incredible amount of the intricacies of immigration policy and drug policy over the last decade. And in fact, most people don't realize that our first drug laws were xenophobic immigration policies. And so this is why Drug Policy Alliance is working with our groups around the country to really figure out how do we continue to push where the president is right now to a broader conversation that's actually going to bring the necessary material condition changes that our community needs.
So what's that broader conversation? What are you actually demanding?
So we are demanding that the president actually deschedule and decriminalize cannabis. The cannabis should not be in the Controlled Substance Act, and that we actually need a situation where we are removing the legal barriers that people are facing around employment, licensing, housing, benefits, and immigration, right? Also, this is time for the president to really focus with the Congress to actually push forward federal legislation. The federal legislation that's been introduced, like the Cannabis Administration and Opportunity Act, includes the decriminalization, that includes resentencing, expungement, and the federal government funding the states to do expungement as well. And so, we think that this is super critical. And we also really want people to understand that we are excited to have this conversation, but are very clear about what we know is necessary. We've seen.
Yes, well, I'll just leave it at that for what she's saying there. But as I said, it's a very important issue. Even as I'm speaking to you now, some heavy thunder is rolling in the heavens there. I'm meditating also how far this law will go, as it relates to, like, even in the US, VI and St. Croix and St. Thomas and these places and other places, even Puerto Rico and so. But anyway, as I said, all of this took place on Friday. And Friday was the 94th anniversary of Haile Selassie being crowned king. This may be a picture of the 1930 coronation you're looking at, but the idea is that in 1928, on the 7th of October, I wanted to get this good, family? Because again, someone may be saying, hey, come on. So what does Selassie getting crowned king have to do with what Joe Biden said Friday? What are you talking about? The things, it's just a coincidence. I'm not arguing with that. I'm sure, of course, it's a coincidence. I already showed you that coincidence means that the events coincide. Nothing wrong with the word coincidence. Coincidence sounds correct. They coincide. But why do they coincide? You know, is there any specific reason that Mr. Biden would have chosen that day? Is it just a random choice? Now, first of all, when you know the run-ins, first of all, you know nothing is done by choice, by mistake. Everything is sat down and, you know, thought out well. It may sound strange, I tell you, even to the dates that these people are born. The first man that went on the moon, Neil A. Armstrong. When you take Neil A and turn it back to front, you get alien. Coincidence, yeah, coincidence. And I mean, if you follow us long enough, you know we got a line of coincidence. Take Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy. Coincident. You could coincident them two people all day long. From when they born, when they die, how they die, who they have in the family, how they met their wife, what they eat for breakfast, who in their family died when they were in office, and you could go on, put dates and numbers and everything. This Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy. Wow, coincident. Ronald Reagan, Pope Pius XI, John Paul II. You can go on and on. Coincidence. It's just that I'm not going to explain it now. We've done so many programs dealing with it, but I'm just quickly running through, maybe in some way summarizing how there are so many different links that have to do with people's even date of birth in the what some would call the underworld, the occult world, the Freemasonic world. It's some deep things. We just did a program the other day of when they buried the Queen of England the other day, and how it related to the distance of the Earth to the sun, and 108, clear as crystal. Someone asked, well, yeah, but so if she didn't die then, when, I mean, yeah, when they would have buried her. I mean, don't ask me. Don't ask me. I am not in the background. I tell you, these people do some strange things. Remember, Pope John Paul was dead before they announced he's dead. You know, that's international news that came out and said that after. You know? So just understand. I don't know what they're doing behind the scene, but I know that they deal with time, they deal with energy, they deal with numbers, they deal with astronomy, they deal with astrology. I mean, we know enough. Oh my, even if Joe Biden just says so by chance and say, let me say it this morning, and he didn't check his astrologer, you can't blame us for believing that there's a reason why he did it at that time, on that day. And the exact moment too, they work on minutes and seconds, and when Venus line up with this and that, they know what they're doing. As I said before, when somebody put 100 pounds on your back and then say, okay, let me take off 10. And I mean, you may be thankful that the weight has eased up because you're so accustomed to carry that weight. But be careful in your thanksgiving. So you in jail or you're out of jail or whatever, all your records can be even wiped off because Joe Biden has decided to, you know, show the goodness of his heart, you know. And he said too many people, you know, especially black and brown, have been criminalized because of these, what you call these things, prohibition legislations, whatever you call them. He was behind a lot of them things, the same Joe Biden. Remember, we did an extensive program when he became president, you know, with videos and audios and all sorts of things. Gregory Isaac, no more Uncle Joe, you're squeezing my toe. And you would see Joe Biden in the Senate, the young Joe Biden, clearly telling you how we need to lock up black people, get them off of the streets. These maniacs not gonna rape my mother. Yeah, that's Joe Biden, ain't me, eh? I mean, hey, we can go for the, I mean, and I know some of you know what I'm talking about. So all of these people that got in prison for them little spliff and otherwise, these people that are pardoning them now are people that specifically had a hand in getting them there. I know I'm not making it up. I mean, we have the records are there. No, it's on the internet. You see the man in the Senate saying the same things that I just repeated. I mean, where are we? Okay. So anyway, so the 7th of October now. You see the interesting thing that stands out, you know, again, just like the dark world works with astrology and works with the reckoning of time and works with stargazing and all sorts of weird things. The world of light and purity works with astronomy and works with nature and works with frequency and works with timing. So that is why even when the emperor was born the 23rd day of July, we know them science. Nobody push nobody out the womb. This is just the Most High conducting, you know, the natural vibration of the elements. And the emperor was born on the beginning of the cycle of Leo the lion, a pedimech. The heavens bust open just like how today we having thundering. Yeah, since we start the thunder started, Charlie's bring thunder, man. And the same way thunder came in, well, maybe not the same way, because I mean it brought to an end a 7-year drought. So I could imagine it was a heavy thing, flood out the place. That was at the earth day of the king. This is the heavens rejoicing and aligning with, you know, history and prophecy. It's just natural, nothing spooky. You don't need no special magician to make it happen. It's just nature coinciding with the gods and goddesses of the domain. That's really what it is. So when the king was born, then now down to the time when he was coronated, you know, everything is in order. We always show the coronation of the emperor 2nd of November. Remember that there's no mystery or mistake within the mind why Halloween is very close to that day. Remember, Halloween is something to cover up All Saints Day, and some call it All Souls Day. And in different cultures, it clearly shows you between that time, that 31st October, 1st, 2nd, 3rd of November, is a time when portals are open. That's just a reality, you know. So it's no mistake that the emperor is coronated the 2nd of November, you know, and became the Ishmark on the 1st of November. Even the independence of Anu is the 1st of November. Menelik, the 2nd coronation, the 3rd of November. I'm just saying all of this to say that when it comes to the archangels and the archdevils, they work with timing. They work with movements of heavens. It's just natural. The only thing is that with the archangels now, is not nothing you have to force. Even you live an upful and upright life. You ain't got to try to work and align with no stars. You'll just naturally align. You know, things will just naturally align perfectly for you because you are tapped into the universe. You are one with the universe. You have now become the universe when you're living clean and pure and upful and eating right and vision right and doing the right things and just connecting, just following the order of truth. You become one with the universe. So all planets align and everything, just like how that man saying the song, Michael Jackson, and the planets are aligning for you. You don't know that song? Which one of them song it is now? I can't remember. I can remember, you know, but it's just there. The planets are aligning. You're just another part of me. You're just another part of me. You listen to the song good. Talk about the planets aligning, all because of you. So it's just a natural thing. You're born and your youth's born and offspring, everything just in line. These demons now, them demons sit down behind the table and start to read the stars and try to make sure it fit and make sure that it born on the right day. Man, if they have to induce labor to make sure it come out, they do all of that. That's how the devil works. You see the difference, but both sides align. So I'm just showing you now I know sometimes we go far to make a point, but the point is, nobody can tell me that Mr. Joe Biden just jump up out of his bed that morning and choose that day to say what he say about marijuana. You see, the problem is a lot of us forget, I ain't trying to be selfish, but a lot of us forget. This is going to sound harsh to some of you, right? But marijuana belong to Rastafari. Yes, I know. Don't get me. I know it sounds harsh, but it belongs to everybody too. You know? Don't get me wrong. When you see we as Rastafari fight for the legalization of it, it's everybody we fight for, everyone. But there's a time when we have to stand up, because nobody can stand up for Rastafari. Rastafari is just like, you know, you're a child in the family and nobody can look out for you. Nobody, neither auntie, nobody looking out for you. You better look out for yourself. That is Rastafari. All the world leaders will say, oh, Rastafari, good job. Thanks for preserving the culture for us. Give thanks to the Rastaman and them. Go, you can smoke all you want behind the fence and all of that. That's how we go with Rastafari. But we're not intelligent enough. We're not wise enough. We don't have enough doctors and engineers and enough certificates and degrees to come and step up to the plate. So let the jacket and tie run with it. Let Mr. You know, Moustache and Mr. Executive and Mr. Excellency, let them control the board. Put all of them people on the board. You know, maybe a Rasta can go on one of the boards them and make sure you can pull his string. All of that in the game. Because marijuana is supposed to be totally taken away from Rastafari. Listen, you remember when it became illegal? Do you know what was taking place in the world when marijuana became illegal? Who was coronated when marijuana became illegal? Serious thing, there is no joke. Who became King of Kings and Lord of Lords when DuPont decided, let us make it illegal? Yes, I know. They were bringing in petroleum and oil, and the hemp industry was really battling their finances, so they decided to make it illegal in general and kind of stifle it so their oil industry could progress. I agree with that, and I know that. That's the earthly level. There's a spiritual level to this too. Let me repeat. Who was Crown Negus and Agas just before they decided to lock down the marijuana shop? You see, the cannabis, I know it can make trees, not make trees, what am I saying? I know it can make hempcrete. I think the trees things was that an acre of hemp or marijuana can make the same amount of anything, paper specifically, but I would believe anything that 4 acres of trees can make. You get it? Good. I think that was a tree thing in my mind. But the point is, yes, the marijuana can make garments, it can make shoes, it can make hempcrete, which is concrete. Man, I was watching a documentary the other day. They're saying that the pyramids was made out of hempcrete because it was light. So they could put it together, and over time it kind of crystallized or condensed or whatever it did to get heavy. Interesting. First I hear that one. Interesting opinion on that one there. I've heard different ways on how one's believed the pyramid was made. But the point is, marijuana or cannabis sativa can do all of these things and much, much more. We can talk about the THC, the CBD, and of course the medicinal aspect of it, and we can go on and on. But let's talk about the DMT. Let us talk about the psychoactive realms, ayahuasca. Let us talk about what the cannabis can really do in opening the realms and the heavens. We as Rastafari know that. We as Rastafari are the ones that preserve the cannabis culture. Not the sadhus, no disrespect, not the hippies. It is the Rastafari that kept, just like how we keep Marcus Garvey name and Emperor Haile Selassie name relevant in the world, is the same way we kept marijuana relevant in the world. From me say marijuana is Rastafari, you see. And you can't separate Rastafari the movement from Rastafari the man. They try all that. Even when the king come Jamaica, they try to make him deny I, and he said, no, Leave them. They are correct. And he proved that he's one with us. He gave us 31 gold medals. Gold medals, you know, the Emperor of Ethiopia gave 31 gold medals out when he come to Jamaica, to the Rastafari. That's a serious statement there. Shows his oneness with us. You understand? So that is something just to even consider. So again, you must comprehend, even if we don't know it, the enemy understands that the Rastafari is a spiritual thing. Remember, J. Edgar Hoover said they are on the lookout for the rise of a black Messiah, which means they expect the black Messiah to come. They know that. They can read prophecy. Remember, these are the stargazers, you know, they're reading this thing regularly and they say, hey, listen. This book here says, when the King of Kings is crowned, a group of people is going to rise up. A spiritual class of priestly warriors, they're going to rise up to liberate their people. We got to stop them. One of their main weapons will be the cannabis as a spiritual growth. Let's legalize it. So you don't believe, you think I just take that out of my head. You don't believe nobody sit down and say that. I know that. No, yeah, I just thinking too far ahead. Yeah, too far. Yeah. Nobody sit down and infiltrate Rastafari. No, nobody do that. No. Nobody infiltrate the music business and reggae music and say, yeah, put that in it and water it down. It's still nice enough, but it's not the spiritual African liberation, tear the ground over open Nyabingi fire that it was intended to be. Take them out of their robe and put them in a jeans pant and a leather jacket. Take the chalice out of his hand and give him a big spliff. Nobody infiltrated. No. It was no CIA, no FBI have nothing to do with Rastafari. You're fooling yourself. They clearly understand this is Haile Selassie's followers, you know, man. They clearly comprehend the rise of the priest class warriors. And they know, you can't tell me nothing, they know, they understand the power of cannabis. We still learning, they comprehend the power of cannabis and what it can do. Those of you that have been in this trad for a while, you know marijuana save you. Yeah, man, give thanks and praises all the way. So yeah, after the emperor was crowned in 1930, this is when they started to clamp down on cannabis. And Rastaman is who get the brunt of that. Why? Just by it's a coincidence again? It coincides. Interestingly, it coincides. Because we all know that's our spirit, that's the sacrifice we use, our sacred herb. Have to hide and duck with that and put it in your pocket and eat it and swallow it and all sorts of things. They'll beat it out of you until you vomit it out. Since when? They wasn't doing that in 1920s, but they started after the 1930s. After the emperor, after the biggest event historically, 72 nations come and bow down before the Almighty Eye. Yeah, and all of a sudden, the sacred sacrifice become illegal. So you have to pardon me. With a person with all of that running around in his head, when I see Uncle Joe make the statement about cannabis, the big statement the man make there, man, on the 94th anniversary of the coronation of Negus, I have to at least put some thought to it. What do you say? Because what's interesting to you know, on another level, as you could see, we also mentioned Menelik II. And to show you how the king worked with the king, because even the day prior to that was another anniversary. You see this banner I have here? This is the banner that Menelik II rose in 1897 on the 6th day of October. As you could obviously see, it is not the regular Ethiopian flag that you are accustomed to seeing, any one of them. It has that disputed red on the top. But Menelik II, that is why you always hear that discussion, and we've done a program on this just about a strong ago, isn't it? But that's why you always hear that discussion about Ethiopia, when they fight in war, the red turn down, and when it's peace, the red turn up, and that kind of thing. And it's because of these examples, once I would use this term, come to that conclusion. Yeah, let me say it that way. So Menelik II, yes, when he went into Battle of Adwa, it's the imperial flag that he had. Let me be clear again with the history of that. You know, some historians are in between exactly when the red, gold, and green with the lion imperial came in, and argue if it was under Johannes or even the last days of Emperor Theodore II or Theodorus II. But for sure, when Menelik II now, who came to power in 1889 as emperor, but of course, I mean, long-standing king of Shoa, etc., etc., once was a prisoner from a youth in the, you know, of Emperor Theodorus II at Magdala, you know, in the dungeons of Theodore II at Magdala. Menelik II, as a young youth, was in his confines, but yet still, according to him, Menelik, he was well taken care of, etc., etc. I think he was even given a wife too, but he left wife and everything when he escaped and returned back to Shoa and became the king of Shoa after a moment, and then becoming emperor at the death of Johannes IV. So it's just history, 1889. So all of that time, especially from the reign of Johannes, which is 1871, you would have had, according to history, that imperial Ethiopian flag that you know, that, for example, Rastafari would carry with the lion and the red, gold, and green with the red at the bottom of it. But prior to that now, it would have been prior to 1870, pardon me, 1870. If I said 19, please forgive me. 1870, sometimes in your speech, you just flip over and say something else. So only sometimes when you're listening it back again, you say, oh, that was a little mistake there. But anyway, slip of the tongue, not of the mind. But 1870. So prior to 1870, it would have been the tricolored red, gold, and green. Remember, we showed you that. They were just like three triangles, but it has always been with the red on top. So never judge the Ethiopian history as if it was always this one thing. You know, it changed over time and went and switched back, because after Menelik II passed on in 1913, they put back the imperial flag as we know it, with the lion, but this time with the red down. And as I showed even in that documentary there, the reason that we had, this is an ancient flag. So you see, history is a mystic thing, you know. And even those of us that consider ourselves researchers of history and scholars, etc., etc., many of the history that we are talking about is history recently dug up by people that, archaeologists, that some of them are not even worthy, to be honest. And that is why we have to come and even unravel some of the historical opinions we've been given about some of our historical heroes. For example, Akhenaten. How much time you see me come and shine up Akhenaten's name, you know, and I am pushed to do that, impulsed to do that when I hear somebody dissing Akhenaten. Sometimes you may say, oh, but we hear deal with him already. Well, yeah, but somebody's still talking trash about my father, so I gotta come and make people know that, hey, you got it wrong, you know. So and that's what it is, history. You know, people tell you Tutankhamun was a minor pharaoh. But when we studied properly, there may not have been a greater one than him. But you see, that's history and how you take it. So we got to be sharp. History is not just knowledge, it's understanding too when we study history. All right. But anyway, so I'm saying that the 6th of October, 1897, Menelik II rose this flag. So when the emperor became king, Negus, on the 7th of October, 1928, that was actually 31 years and a day. I want you to listen to this good enough. When the emperor became Negus Tafari, he's Rastafari, and now he's going to get crowned Negus Tafari in 1928 on the 7th day of October, the day he get that crown put on his head as Negus Tafari, and he was the king of Addis Ababa. That kingship that the emperor get on the 7th of October, there's never been nothing like that, you know, because the king of Addis Ababa is the emperor of the whole land. But he was given the kingship, but he wasn't the emperor as yet, or was he? So how he wasn't the emperor? Because there was an empress. Empress Zaditu, the daughter of Menelik, was the lioness of Judah, reigning on the throne. Follow this good, eh? And so, but Addis Ababa needed a king, because remember, it's a king, usually is the emperor, but there's an empress now. Wow. So we that whole power of the queen and the throne, we done conquer them vibes long time. What they just did there in Britain is they ain't no new thing. So Empress Zaditu was our sacred empress. And Rastafari, as we know him, was basically ruling Ethiopia. So in 1928, with a little bit of encouragement, I would call it, if you know the story, he became king. It was a title he was reluctant to take to him. But yeah, but he became king. And he was the king of Addis Ababa, the capital. And that was a strange position, you know. And after that, no one else got crowned king again. So it's a very important day. It was a sacred thing that took place when Haile Selassie got the title King Negus. And I'm showing you, he took that title 31 years. And the day, to the day, Menelik II rose this banner here. Interesting. You may say, okay, man, just coincidence again. I know. Now, check this. Menelik II was crowned. Follow, let me give you some more coincidence. I have some more coincidence for you. Menelik II now was crowned on the 3rd of November, 1889. Of course, that's the day of our Patriots Day. Don't forget Patriots Day now. Get yourself in order. Menelik II was crowned on the 3rd of November, coronated, Negus and Nagas, on the 3rd of November, 1889. And Rastafari, Negus Tafari, became Emperor Haile Selassie I on the 2nd of November, 1930. Okay, so what does this mean now? Menelik II became emperor on the 3rd of November, 1889. Haile Selassie became emperor on the 2nd of November, 1930. So this means that Haile Selassie I became emperor exactly, hold on, before I do that, Max. The day before Haile Selassie I was crowned emperor, the 1st of November, which is the anniversary of him, Haile Selassie I, getting the title, the Deshmark. The day before this in the West is Halloween. But anyway, let's stick to this. So the 1st of November, 1930, while he was still Negus Tafari, he was Emperor Tafari, pardon me. This is another thing. Oh, that's another level altogether. That's another level altogether. You know, family, before I continue, let me say this. I feel like I want to take a draw of the chalice now. Let me say this. Nothing really discourages me, eh? But sometimes when we do certain programs, I see some people make some comments and I say, I wonder if we're doing the right thing. You know, that's why some people talk about the secret, you know, and you have to be initiated. You remember once I did a program about Emperor Tafari, the 7 months that Emperor Tafari ruled Ethiopia. You know, not somebody, a few people. You go and check them programs and read the comments. A few people come at me like, say, man, I playing with history. But you see, I'm showing you in a mistake. Remember, I did a program about King Emmanuel ruling Ethiopia for in the absence of Haile Selassie. And but people just didn't understand the heights of the mystics. Because listen, Farai, Emperor Haile Selassie became emperor not on the 2nd of November 1930. He became emperor on the 2nd of April 1930. That's another mistake. Empress Menelik became empress for her Earth Day. If you use it for the April date around that time, yeah. All of that is mistakes. That's what I'm telling you, no family. Wisdom is found in the simplest of places. So Empress Menelik became empress basically for her Earth Day. So Haile Selassie became emperor since the 2nd of April, since Empress Adito passed. 3rd of April, he's done emperor already. But he was coronated on the 2nd of November, the same 1930. And when he was coronated, he took the title or the name Haile Selassie, which was already his baptismal name. But before that, it wasn't Haile Selassie. Is Emperor Tafari, the man was Emperor Tafari. So when I do the program and say the 7 months that Emperor Tafari ruled Ethiopia, I'm just showing you the mystic, and exactly 7 months too. Remember, this is Haile Selassie we're talking about, you know, who many ones proclaim the Almighty, you know, man. So there's nothing done by chance, no mistake, and it just happened. And no coincidence, unless you want to say coincide. Hey, this is my God and King. It's impossible for me to believe that it just so happened by chance that he ruled Ethiopia for 7 months to the very day, exactly 7, that perfect number, under the name Emperor Tafari, just before he coronated and take Haile Selassie as a title. Deep. So don't make none of these things go over your head. Check them good. So before he was coronated now, he unveiled this statue here of Menelik II, the day before he was coronated, Haile Selassie. And the day after he was coronated was the 41st anniversary of the coronation of the same Menelik II. Okay. So in other words, Menelik II and Haile Selassie obviously have a specific link. Whether you see it or not, there's some spiritual connection with them both, because we already show you. Menelik II is like one of them Elisha thing, you know. It's an energy with Menelik II and the Honorable King Emmanuel. Even just looking at him alone, and then the other details which we can break down for you anytime you have the time, we can put that in a ray for you for sure. So we already contact that with understanding. And then now, again, watch the details. The flag of Menelik II, the 6th of October, 1897. 31 years and the day after the anniversary of this flag. Interesting numbers. 31 years, 31, 31. And a day after, Rastafari became Negastafari. And then Rastafari, who became Negastafari, became Emperor Tafari and ruled Ethiopia for 7 months, from the 2nd of April to the 2nd of November, before he was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie I and took that name. But the day before he was coronated officially, he unveiled the statue of Menelik II. All of this time, we were in the season, we were coming to an end of Menelik II's 40th anniversary as his coronation. So 40 years ago, Menelik II was coronated, and we're in his 40th anniversary. But the day after Haile Selassie was coronated, the day after Haile Selassie was crowned Emperor Haile Selassie I, which would bring it to the 3rd of November 1930, that's the day that would make the 41st anniversary of the coronation of Menelik II. So now it may sound like some heavy maths to some people here, but that's light maths when you really consider how the heavens align to make all of this possible. And don't believe that the great architect Haile Selassie I himself don't comprehend all what he doing in adjusting them numbers in his movements. So do you believe the emperor have no idea what's going on when he realized that 72 nations was represented at his coronation? You have to understand, whether you want to put him in a religious light or not, the man done prove who he is. A brilliant soul amongst us, knowledgeable, from Bible to Quran to all the knowledge of the East, Haile Selassie. You have to understand the brilliance of Haile Selassie. So in the same way that we can sit down and pick up the 72 nations that bow down before him and the prophecy in Psalm 72, you want to say he didn't pick it up, he didn't know he's King of Kings, it never crossed his mind that, wow, all of this is interesting. Yeah, it never crossed his mind. He had to wait to hear that somebody in Jamaica said that he's God for him to say, wow, that's interesting. I never thought of that. Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. So yeah, man, this is how I would use the term the occult world run. Because as Jordan Maxwell done explain, occult is not nothing bad, it's a term that means the unknown science. That's all. That's why is they make you consider it bad, because they don't want you to know about the depths of the unknown science. So I don't know how you look on the decision of the United States government in their continual movement, if you want to say forward, in the decriminalization of the cannabis. And obviously the decision that was made is a countrywide decision, what they call a federal decision. So it's not limited, it's all over really. That's why I was mentioning how would it impact our brothers and sisters, maybe even in the Virgin Islands, if it goes the same way for them. Because in the Caribbean, we're still even battling some of that. People that are still in prison, still going to prison, and criminal records staying because of one of them little roaches, one of them little spliffs. And of course, that is not something that would make anyone happy, really. So how do you look at it? What's your outlook? What do you believe? Are you thankful to Mr. Joe Biden for the decision that he made? Or do you think that there's not more that he can do? That's not even a question. Or do you believe that there's something more that, that meets the eye? Let's put it that way. And that's not even a question neither. I mean, none of them questions should be asked. The number one, more than what he can do. What he can do, man, they could just stop playing the game and just shut down the clown show. That's what they can do. Yeah, that's number one. And if there's something behind the scenes more than meets the eye, there's always something more than meets the eye. Always, always, always. So I don't even need nobody to answer them questions here for me. Yes, family, give thanks. Of course, I am reminding you of Patrons Day. And before we get to Patrons Day, let me tell you about a Apedimek. You see all the discussions we're having even about it. All what I just went into a moment ago to concretize the link as it relates to Menelik and Haile Selassie. You know, because there's more, you know, there's much more. There's even things that the emperor would have done, and certain orders, the order of Menelik II, the order of the Lion of Judah that he would have established, and the orders, the said Lion of Judah order bestowed upon Johannes Menelik Rasmokenen and himself Haile Selassie I, and so there's a lot of links and mystics and depths, because remember, still even Tedros and going before, these brothers had their insignia with the lion and would have referred to themselves as the Lion of Judah as well, you know. But as I'm highlighting in this new documentary, yes, but which one of them is a Apedimek? And keep in mind, a Apedimek at times does have 3 heads. It's so deep, you know. And again, the way that the 3 are highlighted, you know, Menelik, Johannes Menelik and Haile Selassie. And again, these would be the 3 directly for sure related with that insignia, the lion within the flag. So it's a deep understanding when you put it all together. You know, never leave out the lionesses neither. We make way for that clearly, even in the documentary Apedimek, with understanding the lion and even the lionesses of Judah. But there is a Lion of Judah, though, which is a man. There is a specific Lion of Judah, you know, that stands out above the lions, and that is a Apedimek. And as I said, family, you want to be a part of it. Listen, from my heart, I'm really looking forward to everyone, as much of you as possible, to save the date, the 3rd of November, not the patrons there, I want you there, but for our presentation, our featured presentation. That will be Sunday evening, the 3rd of November. More details coming, as far as more than likely it would be at 8, but the link and everything, so you can come in. There's no charge whatsoever to this. This is just the as I said, it's the world premiere of Apedimek, our 4th full-length video documentary, the conquering land hath prevailed. So I'm just looking forward to your presence. Remember, you can pre-order your copy of Apedimek even now. It's only $25 for the Apedimek. I mean, remember, this is not a lecture, you know. It's not a lecture. It's not whatever else you may think it is. Do you remember the Night of the Black Tiger? If you like the Night of the Black Tiger, you will love Apedimek. If you love 7, you'll be ecstatic about Apedimek. If you love the Master of Ceremonies, you will be overjoyed as it relates to Apedimek, our 4th full-length video documentary. As you can see, obviously, I myself am quite elated at it. But then returning again, remember the 3rd of November, it's going to be the full Patrons Day. By now, I know everybody has a good idea of what's going on. Looking forward to your presence with us. Just make sure you have your, your whole day set around radio. I know, as I said, we have a lot of special guest speakers, lecturers. We're going to be having a wonderful sit down. We're going to be giving forward, what they call giving back. Remember, the telethon is on. And of course, we are definitely going full force as it relates to Patrons Day on the 3rd of November, 2022. Give thanks for all of those who are definitely ready to come on board. Of course, I'm very thankful for all our guest speakers and lecturers who will be there with us. All right, family, give thanks. Let me just remind you again about tomorrow evening or Monday evening, depending on when you're seeing this here. And of course, that will be in the Tiger's Nest, 7 p.m. sharp. We will have the good brother Franz de Freitas with us, and he will be conversing with us as it relates to himself, you know, telling us exactly who he is and what he's all about, and what future he plans if he was to hold, or what's his future plans, I should say, if he was to hold the reign of power. He liked to say servantship here in the nation of Antigua and Barbuda. So that's 7 p.m. sharp. We're going to be talking about the cannabis as well. So the cannabis discussion will continue. We will be also speaking of other things, Greencastle Hill and the megaliths that align. We'll be touching upon the youths and entrepreneurship and reparation and even how we should deal with the monarchy and what's his stance, since he is looking to take political power. What's his stance on us, swearing to, the queen or the king or whoever they have there? And because if he wins his election bid, pardon me, he's definitely going to have to swear to somebody. And as far as I know, it's the monarchy that's still up for that position. So tune in tomorrow evening, or whenever you're seeing this, tune in Monday the 10th of October, 7 p.m. for that wonderful reasoning there. And that's on Radio Anu, PriestIsaacInstitute.com. Of course, the link is in the description below. Wonderful family. Giving thanks for your presence with us, life giver and keep of life. Love in the house. Looking forward to your presence with us again. And of course, in the tiger's nest. Give thanks, love, and harmony. Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Blessed. Give thanks.